Hello, welcome back to Football United TV. Thank you so much for tuning in recently. We had a great vlog yesterday with Kendall Rowan, Newcastle United fan. We got another Newcastle United fan here now, Sav Mondo. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Like I was telling you just
Yeah.
before, work tomorrow. So I'm grimming out. I'm seeing the time. It's simmering down, and it's not good for me. I don't really want to go to work. I see everyone on furlough, and they've still got their holidays. I'm like, God damn you.
Yeah, Sunday night feelings then.
Pretty much, do you know what I mean? But I mean, England are playing later. Maybe, hopefully, that'll be a good game. I'm not sure. But we wanted to pretty much get into the project big picture, because you really wanted to talk about this, and it has been circulating the news recently. What do you make of this proposal? I think it is Man United and Liverpool that were the two main clubs, the Glazers and the Henrys, John Henry. They proposed it, didn't they? And I think it would be 18 teams in the Premier League, and obviously 2 teams would miss out on the EFL leagues. What do you make of this, Sav? And are you thumbs up about this, or are you thumbs up, thumbs down about it?
Well, to be fair, I was kind of wholly thumbs down about it. Man United and Liverpool this season seem to have thrown their toys out the pram a little bit. And the way I kind of see Project Big Picture is buying superiority. You know, it gives them the power, you know, even down to, I know I'm Newcastle, but down to a takeover. It gives them the power to decide that if that can or can't go ahead. And I think that's quite unfair on the, you know, teams that are struggling, that, you know, do need a takeover. And, you know, it was just giving, and not Man City, they were in with the names, but they haven't been in the Premier League as long as other teams, which didn't really make sense. It's a money thing. That's all it is. It's to do with money. It's just them wanting to control the Premier League. And obviously, you know, when they said it wasn't sort of going to go forward, then they started on about there's obviously a European league. It just seems very, you know, like it's all very money orientated, but you know, even if they went to their European league, someone's got to lose. So, you know, just because over there they could go out and do really badly. And, you know, I've got to the point where I just feel if that's what they want, go off and do it.
It is like that, isn't it? And they're sort of I think FIFA and UEFA are looking at it to make the World Club Cup better and the Champions League better. And look, I think they could do that anyway without disrupting the lower leagues. Do you know what I mean? In the EFL, and I just don't think it's a very good proposal at all. And I know it's been knocked out, hasn't it, recently by was the Premier League, wasn't it, or the Premier League clubs, or the majority?
Yes, the clubs, yeah.
But it will probably come back around again, won't it? It's one of those things that it will push through. And it seems like the American owners, no disrespect to America, but it just seems like they're looking at it as a franchise and how they could make more profits from this sort of decision. Do you think it is just all about greed, like you say?
I think it is, and I think it would ruin, you know, it would ruin football really if money just becomes what it's all about. I mean, it's vastly about money anyway these days, but that would just take it to another level. And you know, it's worked for so long the way that it is, and I don't really see why you've got to shake that up and make it into something else that actually, you know, the other teams would sort of struggle to get anywhere near. But as I said, you know, I think if they're not happy with the way the Premier League's going, go off and have your little European league and see how you go there, because there's no one. And look at Manchester United, top 6 team. Where are they in the league right now? You know, I don't mean to be rude and no disrespect, but it's madness. Manchester United have not had a great start, and you know, to be standing there and saying, "Oh, you know, well, we want all the decisions," and we, you know, it's kind of, you know, a lot laughable.
Yeah, I think it should be kept to being just an English FA decision. Do you know what I mean? A Premier League decision, to just keep the league as it is, and whatever they want to do outside of the league with the Champions League and the Europa League and the FIFA World Club Cup, they can do that. They can really make it a lot better if they really want to. They could shift around the dates when the FIFA World Cup's played. I believe it's December, isn't it? Just before Christmas. during the Premier League, that's a very tough time for clubs, you know what I mean, with fixtures. I think they could move that to the summer at some point, maybe as a pre-season thing, do you know what I mean? And instead of doing a pre-season, you have the FIFA World Club Cup. I agree with you. I just think it isn't looking out for the rest of the clubs below. And, these clubs below in the EFL leagues and non-leagues, they make football what it is, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that they're often overlooked and forgotten, when it comes to the bigger clubs. They don't think about that sort of side of it because they don't have to. And, I just think it was very much trying to build more hierarchy in football rather than thinking about everyone as a whole, because, it would just get rid of competition. What's the point? If they're just going to win all the time because they can, what's the point to having the leagues?
Exactly. It will kind of be like your Ian Bill shirt you've got on there. Premier League in 50 years' time will be like, I've got nothing left.
Yeah.
Left.
That'll be all the fans. We're all... Yeah, I didn't mean to have this on. I accidentally left it on. I meant to put my football shirt on. I sat down and joined the Zoom meeting. I was like, oh, no, I haven't changed the top over, but never mind.
Brilliant shirt, by the way. And we all kind of love Ian Bill, deep down, even if you don't admit it, you do.
Yeah, he's a good character. Not just anyone gets their head flushed down the toilet.
He's been through a lot, hasn't he? We won't go into detail on EastEnders, but what do you make as well? We were going to go and talk about the pay-per-view crisis, which has been abandoned, hasn't it? And that's really good news. I think it was to do with the media looking at supporters abandoning paying for it. Do you know what I mean? And giving their money they would have paid for it into charities, such as what Marcus Rashford's doing with the free school meals, etc. And I think that's really applaudable from everybody that did that. So well done to you. Yeah, what do you make of them trying to do this at a time like this where people haven't got a lot of money and they're missing out on work and just adding up the price? How can people afford this? Do you know what I mean? Who on earth made this proposal?
Yeah, I mean, I was interviewed by Radio 1 over it because when Mike Ashley, owner of Newcastle, he spoke out and he said, oh, it's not right and it should be lowered. They contacted me and said, oh, he's actually a really nice guy, isn't he? Which to say that to a Newcastle fan probably isn't the best idea. And, on the face of it, when someone says that, you think, oh, yeah, that's great. But he was, at the time, still taking the money for the season tickets every month. So, trying to make it out that we've got to save the fans' money didn't massively wash with me. But, no, I think that it was a ridiculous idea. It's bad enough at the moment. If you look at mental health, and some people just couldn't, £15 a game, that is an absolute joke. And yeah, and if it had been like a Netflix subscription, say, whatever that is every month, and you could watch any game, I would have probably gone for that. But I think they very quickly cottoned on to the fact that, most fans would be willing to stream it from somewhere else for nothing at all. And they were putting that, I noticed they were putting it on the banners in the back of the matches, 50% of people who illegally stream get hacked and things like that, just to try and deter everyone. But I think that's the main reason why they've now quashed it, because I think they realised that actually it was a non-starter from the beginning. And interestingly, I think it was only Leicester who voted against the idea when it was first proposed. So I don't really know who thought that was a good idea. I don't know who put the £15 price tag on it, £14.95. I think the whole idea was always going to come crashing down when streaming is quite widely available.
Exactly, and it kind of reminds me of the boxing prices per fight, But you don't necessarily have a boxing fight every 3 days, do you? So you don't spend 45 to 60 pounds a week watching boxing, do you? Every one-off, you pay that £15 to watch that big fight. It's football. There's games on all the time, and some of the games as well would have been no disrespect, but Aston Villa versus West Bromwich Albion would have been a game that you pay £15 extra for. What on earth was going on there in someone's decision to do that? I don't get it, and I completely agree with you on it. Hopefully that won't come back in though, right, Sav?
I'm hoping not. And if they do, like I said, it would have to be a lot lower on what they're trying to charge. I think that they realise, I think they realised very quickly that it was a non-starter, and people were very vocal about it as well. And, you've got people on furlough, you've got people who have lost their jobs this year. And on top of that, trying to charge them that amount of money just to watch their football team is actually, it's cruel. I think, they've done the right thing in abolishing it at the moment, and I hope it doesn't make a return.
Agree with that as well. I hope it really doesn't, because fans definitely miss out, and that's what makes the sport, isn't it? Fan support, and we need to keep that at a good level. Going Radio 1, you went on Radio 1 and talked. How was that, being a fan of Newcastle and football in general? What did you make of this? It must have been amazing.
It was so weird. I didn't actually go to the studio or anything. I had to do it through WhatsApp with the little microphone thing. And someone contacted me on Twitter in the morning, said, "Can you follow me? I need to speak to you." And I looked, it was a Radio 1 person. I was like, oh God, what's going on here? I'm not even ready. And she said to me that she'd seen that I was a Newcastle fan, and did I fancy talking about pay-per-view in relation to Mike Ashley. Ironically, she cut everything I said about Mike Ashley out. I don't think she was. I think she thought I was going to go, oh, what a nice guy. Do you know what? We've all got him wrong, and he's really generous trying to get the pay-per-view, it's taken down or lowered in price. And obviously I didn't say that. After I spoke about it, she went, God, you lot really don't like him, do you? I was like, no, not at all. But no, she left in the bit that where I was talking about, the financial crisis at the moment with people, and the fact that it was left, it's not right to be charging people like that. And there were people that were paying it. And, is it desperation? Is it because they don't know about that there is other methods to watch them? Not that I'm condoning it, but there is other methods around it. I just thought it was just completely out of order. But no, it was a bit nerve-wracking, because it was dropped on me, and it's Radio 1. After I'd been on, someone contacted me and went, "Was that you just on Radio 1?" I was like, yeah, it was. But no, it was a funny old experience.
I bet. And them cutting that out as well, that's not really good reporting, is it? You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's because they've got some sort of rules against how people are spoken about. I don't know. If it wasn't rude. I was just to the point that he's still taking the season ticket money, so he can stand there and say, oh, this is out of order for fans to have to pay this amount of money, but then he's still breaking people in other ways. So I didn't think it was wrong of me to highlight that at all.
No, you know what I mean? It's a shame that they didn't actually put that in, because that is your opinion. They wanted your opinion, and then they cut the main part of it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the opinion from her that she didn't want people speaking out against him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she buys from Sports Direct.
She chose the wrong person then to come on, right?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think she did her research.
I was just about to say, I don't think she actually seen your stuff and realised actually.
No, she was lovely though. She was really nice. She said, I've got nice hair, which I was like, oh, thanks. But no, she was lovely. She just clearly didn't want anyone speaking out too much about Mike Ashley.
So let's just go on to that quickly. What do you make of Newcastle recently since the start of the Premier League? I said this to Kendall as well, she was definitely a thumbs down, and I always say like the Roman emperors. Do you know what I mean? Where are you? Yeah. Are you there, or are you down?
I am very much there at the moment. Yeah, it's not good for me. Oh God, do you know what? In the transfer window, we didn't do hardly anything. We got Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser in, which was brilliant. And I thought, hold on, we've got a proven goal scorer here, and this is going to go really well for us, because we had Joe Linton up, our £40 million super striker who scored 2 goals. And it weren't working. And I thought, we've got a real opportunity here to shake this whole squad up, and we can play attacking football. We're not just going to sit with 10 at the back and just defend the goal all game and then play long ball up to Joelinton, who then trips over the ball, and that's the end of our attempt, and then they'll counter-attack and then score against us. But yeah, and then we came back at the beginning of the season, and oh God, do you know what? Against Everton particularly, we played 45 minutes of okay football. Everton had a weak side. They weren't playing well themselves. And I was over the moon about that. And then, you know, we come back next week, we're unchanged because we've beaten Everton, so we don't need to change anything. We don't need to do our homework about who we're facing. We're just going to crack straight back in with that same tactic. And we played shocking. And this happens all the time. It's so frustrating to watch it. And then we'll play completely shocking for the first half, and you'll think, right, he's going to go in, he's going to change this team around for the second half, he's going to make a couple of decent substitutions, and then we're going to go out there and we're going to be different. No, we'll come back out exactly the same. We'll carry on playing shocking. I'll be crying. You know, it's just awful. And I can't bear I hate watching us play. I've actually fallen asleep during matches this season, and that's unknown for me. And it's just, I don't know. I don't like to slate Steve Bruce because I think online he gets some awful abuse, but I don't think it's working. I don't think something needs to change. We're just not we can't play attacking, and if you look at our stats, you know, we've saved the most goals, we've got the least possession. I saw that, I think it was Arsenal were moaning about how much possession they'd had in comparison to the rest of the teams in the league. And we were right behind them last, you know, and no one was highlighting the fact that we were right down there. It's just, it's not good. I just can't, I don't know. I think the only way we're going to improve it is to get someone else in as a manager, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think, you know, by Christmas, we could be in a real bad place.
Do you think it's to do with the ownership as well, and the fact that you had that bid come in from Saudi Arabian? Was it a company or a family?
It's PIF, yeah. Your royal family in Saudi Arabia, and Amanda Staveley and the Reuben brothers, and yeah, the Premier League wouldn't agree. Well, they wouldn't agree to it. They wouldn't disagree to it. So in the end, the sort of Saudis walked away, because they said it was no longer financially viable for them. But I'm hearing from people, it is still maybe going on in the background. There's been some very cryptic tweets being put out there by people who were involved around it. I think Amanda Staveley, one of the potential buyers, her husband tweeted a video, "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley, in reply to some of the fans' things. So it makes me angry at the same time as, you know, getting my hopes up, because it's like, this is so frustrating, but it could still be bubbling away in the background. I've heard it is still bubbling away in the background. Whether it is or not, I'm not sure. You could argue both sides. I'm just trying not to think about it for now. But this is why I think that maybe Steve Bruce is being kept in at the moment, because if they got someone else in, it might be a very short-term sort of get them in, and then that just creates unnecessary disturbances amongst what's going on. So, yeah, I think he will be there for the foreseeable. I can't see him going anywhere at the moment. I'm just glad that fans aren't in at the moment, because I can only imagine the abuse he'd be getting right now.
Yeah, it'd be brutal, wouldn't it? I'm pretty sure he's probably happy that he hasn't got the fans support in the stadiums right now. Like you said, I think he pretty much getting abused every single time. And Steve Bruce is a kind of a legend for Man United as well, so it's not nice to see. But, you know, you throw Rafa Benitez out like that, and you get someone like Steve Bruce in, you're not going to be too happy about it, are you, as a fan? Like,
no, the thing with Steve Bruce is, and I was very in the closet last season, I quite liked him, like, because as a person, he's a real likeable character. Like, he can be quite funny, and you can see how much he gets on with sort of, you know, even the team. Like, I think St Max scored a goal, and the first thing he did was run over to Steve Bruce. And I think that in that respect, he's actually a really nice guy. And I try not to insult him, but I just think with his tactics, I think sometimes when you're everyone's friend, it means that there's no hierarchy going on there's no natural leader when you're everyone's friend. And I think that is probably partly what's going on at the moment. And obviously after our last match, Fabian Schär, he came forward and said that we played like shit on camera. And I think for a player to stand up and go against the grain like that, is there something going on in the dressing room at the moment? He was, and everyone looked unhappy. Everyone was shouting at each other, and it is that lack of leadership, in my opinion.
Agree with that, yeah, definitely. Guaranteed that's probably the problems that are going on, do you know what I mean? But again, it's our opinions, isn't it? Not necessarily being truthful about it. Do you know what I mean? There's no truth in it. Yeah. We just think that might be the problem. What do you make of the summer transfer window, and like who do you think like did the best out of the window this summer?
Hands down for me, Aston Villa. I think that they made some great. I wish we'd have gone for Barkley. I think he was amazing to get on loan. Ollie Watkins. Yeah, I think that they did. And like showing this season, like think where they were last season and how they're playing this season. I think it shows that actually, if you have a good transfer window, you can completely kind of turn things around. I'm not saying that they're not going to win the league and anything like that. But I think that how they're playing this season in comparison to last season is everything that you should get out of a transfer window, really. You should make those changes, find your weaknesses and sort of plough forward. Yeah,
I agree with that completely. And it did seem like Ross Barkley was up for the taking for any club, do you know what I mean? And I think he would have gone to someone like Newcastle. I think that's why he picked Aston Villa, because they are sort of in a similar position of like how big of a club they are, do you know what I mean? And how many, how big the stadiums are and how many fans can come in, do you know what I mean? I think that really does make a difference on what club you pick. And I'd say Chelsea, to be fair. They smashed it this summer.
Yeah.
Of course they got him, aren't they? They got a lot of money behind them.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Mike Ashley has got a lot of money behind him, but
he has. He just don't like spending it. He likes to line his own pockets. But yeah, no, I agree, Chelsea. But like, I think as a Newcastle fan, when you look around at people that are available, you look for a very limited budget. So you don't look at the likes that Chelsea or Arsenal, Man United would be looking at. You're looking at someone like Callum Wilson. I was over the moon with that. I couldn't believe we'd spent £20 million. I was like, is Mike Ashley all right? Should someone go check on him? But I think he's been a great addition to us, but he's isolated at the top. We've got no one to get the ball to him. We just play long ball. But no, definitely Chelsea. And I say, from our sort of budget, Aston Villa, I don't know why we didn't go for Barkley. I think that could have, completely changed how we play. But we just don't seem to go for anyone really at any speed.
Is it that term, Brucey ball? You heard that before?
Oh yes, yeah. Everything sort like Bruce ball. It is that long ball, like Shelby. Oh my god! I mean, he's not playing at the moment. When he plays, he makes me laugh because he's like, "Oh, we're not allowed to do long ball anymore." 9 times out of 10, when Shelby gets the ball, he will lump it up the top with no direction, it's just straight up there. And if that is complete Bruce ball, and then we sit back, defend. But you can't be a defensive team if you're not very good at defending. That's my sort of thing. And we're not very good at defending. Not 100% sure what we're good at the moment. I saw that Jeff Hendrick had a shocker today. He got sent off, didn't he? That's another one of our summer signings. Brilliant.
At least it's internationals, though, and it's not affecting the club, right?
No. I mean, in a way, Callum Wilson is injured, but I selfishly didn't want him or Darlow to be picked for, England in case of injuries, and then Callum Wilson got injured anyway. But no, Jeff Hendrick for us, was on the fence over him. I just don't see what he adds. He cuts the ball out in the middle a lot, but mostly he'll just get the ball and pass it back, and that's it. I don't really know at the moment. I don't want to be mean about him. I know a few people have, but I don't know at the moment what he's adding.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Just to end off here, Sav, I want to ask you, how you got into supporting Newcastle and what was your favourite memory? Of course, you have some sort of love affair with Alan Shearer, don't you? We're going to go into that a little bit, maybe, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I never really paid attention to football until '96, Euro '96. And then the love of my life, Alan Shearer, appeared on that television like some sort of curly, golden-haired, goal-scoring god, and I was sold. And I wasn't very old. How was I? 96. I was 11, and I thought we were going to get married, and I stuck his posters all over my wall. Then he went to Newcastle. I said, yes, I'm going to become a Newcastle fan. I had black and white everything everywhere. I had sheer on the back of my tops. Yeah, and that was sort of how it all started. But those, and my favourite memory, May the 3rd, 1997, my first match, I had to go and hide in with the Arsenal fans because my dad could only get Arsenal tickets. So I wore my England shirt and went to go see them. We won that day, and that was brilliant. But yeah, that was basically how I got into it. They were the best days because we actually played like we were gonna, you know, like winners. Now don't, but they were good days. I hope they come back. Maybe they might come back one day.
They should do, especially if the bid gets accepted next time they try and do it. So your favourite player for Newcastle of all time is clearly Alan Shearer, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think he was amazing, weren't he? Like, you just don't see... Football's changed so much. Like, someone put up a photo yesterday of him, and he had, like, blood coming out of his head, bandage wrapped around it. You just don't see... You can imagine that now. They'd be laying on the floor waiting to get a free kick or something, and he just didn't care. I don't think we'll see that sort of type of football that used to be played sort of back in the 90s again, and I think that's a shame because... Now all it is about diving and wanting a free kick, and it is a shame it's gone that way.
If anyone gets an injury like that these days now, they usually retire.
Yeah, straight off to the hospital.
I didn't realise I was going to be bleeding during the football game. Oh dear. We need headsets. They need like the NFL head. Players will probably ask for that in years to come. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say, yeah, that will be the next move. They'll come out in like full hockey gear.
You're coming out in like astronaut spacesuits. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or the big bubbles that you play football in. Do you know, like when you do like the fun activity days. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and then they'll still get a little tap and be rolling around the floor. Like, oh, get the stretcher out.
Sav, thank you so much for coming on today and joining us. Do you want to shout out all your social medias, let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, you usually find me on Twitter at Sav Mondo. And that's about it, really. That's the only social media I have.
You do like other things as well, like
oh yeah, and I do NUFC Matters Ladies Night on a Monday night, and that's at 7:30 to 8:30 on YouTube.
So tomorrow then.
Yep, I'll be back doing this tomorrow.
We'll come and check you out. Thank you so much, Sav, for joining us.
And thank you for asking me on.
Hey, no worries. Hopefully we'll get you back on again soon.
Yep, definitely.
Game. Thank you so much. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. Football United TV. Check us out, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you know the rest. And have a pleasant rest of your weekend, or have a good week. And Premier League's back next weekend, so let's get it on. Cheers, Sav.
Bye.
Bye-bye.